Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all.
So we're going to have some fun today with networking, and if you want to get on my show, make this the year to do it, because it's my 5-year anniversary, so you're getting everything for half off for doing that. Go on my website. It is networkingarizona.net. Check me out on Fox 10 News and get yourself heard on Networking Arizona. Maybe you want to know somebody who can do it. That's what networking is all about. My first guest is Spencer. I'm going to say it right. Anglin.
That is correct.
And you're with Velocity Financial. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, you've been here before, not on my show, but at KFNX, and you've been doing this for over 9 years. What's going on in the market right now?
Well, there's a lot going on in the market. I suppose pretty much anyone with a conventional loan or a government-insured loan is able to refinance right now, even if they might be upside down. So a lot of lenders are backed up because of that, so we're very busy with refinances. And then, you know, the market's thin right now when it comes to inventory. So we've got a lot of buyers out there that are pre-qualified and ready to buy, but having a hard time getting their financing offer accepted when there's lots of cash offers out there swooping up those properties.
Now, you have an offer for everybody who's listening that anyone who calls in is going to get a free credit analysis. And if you are even thinking about doing anything, forget just buying a house, but really anything, you really need to have your credit checked. Also, to have a analysis done, because you can make it better. I mean, that's the thing. You can look at somebody's report and you can make it better. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, you know, there's some key things that I can always look at on a credit report that will tell me right away why someone's credit scores may not be as high as they possibly could be. And then
they're marked in red.
Usually, yeah. You know, late payments. There's some obvious things on there that we would notice. You know, late payments would be one of them, or high credit card balances. But in some cases, it's a matter of putting them in touch with the right credit restoration company that then can help them get some things maybe removed off of their credit or
changed a little bit here, a little bit there.
Exactly.
They know what to do. They want you into a home.
Exactly.
So here's what we're doing. Our lines are open here. He's going to be with us for the next half hour talking about this, and everyone who's calling in is getting a free credit analysis. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Now, let's talk a little bit about you, because, I mean, you had a lot of stuff here that you want to talk about, so you have time now. Let's go ahead and talk about you.
Okay. You mean I just start talking about myself?
Why not?
Okay, well, you know, I'm a native to the fair enough. I'm a native to the Phoenix area. I was born in Mesa and raised in all parts of Phoenix. You know, I moved around a little bit when I was a youngster, but pretty much lived here my entire life. I think I skipped out for about a year and a half when I went to college in San Diego, but I ended up coming back. I do like it out here. My whole family lives out here. I graduated from high school in Tempe, graduated from ASU with BS in business management, and I do spend a lot of time volunteering, which is part of how I do my networking. In addition to being on your show, I'm also a member with the National Association of Realtors and one of their local affiliations. I'm also a member with the National Association of Independent Housing Professionals. I'm also a member with the MD Preferred Physician Services. I'm very qualified to work with doctors and medical professionals that are relocating to the Arizona area. And I'm also a member with the Greater Phoenix Chamber of Commerce.
Wow, so that's a lot. I mean, and that's credibility, all of that. You've been doing this for many years, and you are offering for anyone who calls in between now and the end of his segment a free credit analysis. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I also want to go into a little bit about your website, because you have it's a blog, your website.
Correct.
So let's talk about that, because there's a lot of information there. His website is Spencer Anglin, ANGLIN.com, and talk about it.
Well, you know, on the website, I do blog regularly on the site, and that's the main attraction to the site. But then there's also lots of information on there for anyone that might be investigating buying a house or qualifying for a mortgage. I have a ton of free reports available there. I also have moving links, home improvement links, furniture links, you name it. And then I also have lots of information about mortgages on there, and that's primarily what I like to cover there.
So you can go on his website, which is Spencer Anglin, ANGLIN.com. Also, you can give him a call direct, which is 602-705-6293. And don't forget that everyone who's calling in is going to get a free credit analysis. You need it. You need it big time to even start looking for a house. So the number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can call in. You can talk to him. He's here live. Maybe if you have a question to ask him, he can answer you live. Or also, you can just call in for it, 602-277-5369. All right, so you talked a little bit about yourself, and you had mentioned something about a certified mortgage planning specialist. What is that?
Well, it's a CMPS is the acronym for that, and it's a designation. It's issued by the CMPS Institute. What that simply means, there's some different classifications, I would like to call it, of mortgage loan originators out there. There are those that are registered on the NMLS system, which stands for the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System, which all originators are required to be registered on that system. However, if they work for a nationally chartered bank, like your standard B of A, Wells Fargo, whatever, they're not necessarily required to be licensed with the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions, which I am. Anyone who works for a mortgage brokerage in the state of Arizona has to have that license, which means they have to go through the 20 hours of accreditation. They have to pass the test with a certain percentage. And so, by and large, if someone's going to work with someone that does mortgages, they're going to be much better served to work with someone who's licensed. But to go a step further, a certified mortgage planning specialist is someone who has taken even further classes and demonstrated an ability to understand how the mortgage works with your total financial plan. So I would say a CMPS have demonstrated the financial knowledge, expertise regarding tax and financial planning implications of various mortgage and real estate planning strategies, and which simply means that we're very educated on how choosing the right mortgage loan program can be integrated into your overall financial objectives.
Educated and experienced. We're starting to get our calls. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And everyone who's calling in is getting a free credit analysis from him. Help you get into that home that you've always wanted, or a, refi right now. Big refinance. Time refi, guys. So here it is, 602-277-5369. Okay, so we talked a little bit about what a certified mortgage planning specialist is. What are some of the things that buyers who are looking to purchase a home, should do or not do?
Well, there's some big things that they really shouldn't do, and so if you're paying attention, you should probably write these things down. I would say the most important thing is don't go out and try and establish some new credit. Don't go out and buy a new car when you're trying to qualify to buy a house. It's going to throw your debt ratios off usually, because you're going to add a big payment onto your credit report that's going to show up when myself or the lender that we end up sending you to ends up pulling your credit. So you want to stay away from going out there and buying new furniture before you've actually closed on your home.
Wait till you have the home.
Exactly. You want to stay away from moving your assets around. I wouldn't recommend necessarily moving a lot of assets around back and forth between your accounts, at least 3 months prior to when you're ready to start going out and looking. You don't want to. You have to explain all those transactions, and it requires a lot more paperwork nowadays in order to explain those transactions. Another big thing, I cannot believe I have to say this, but don't change jobs. If you're in the middle of trying to purchase a home, the last thing you want to do is have a change in employment, because that requires a lot more paperwork, and in a lot of cases it'll cause your loan to be not approved. Let's see. Don't run credit on yourself. I mean, granted, it's okay to run credit on yourself, because there's a great website out there called annualcreditreport.com that actually lets you pull your credit for free once a year, but that's not going to hurt your credit. But going out and having your credit pulled multiple times during the home buying process is not a bad thing, because those inquiries can then bring your scores down, which could affect your mortgage rate.
Well, we're going to be going to a break. And so when we come back, I want to talk further a little bit about that and go into some of the other things. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And everyone who's calling in is getting a free credit analysis with him. And he's got tons of experience, 9 years of experience. Go on his website. It's SpencerAnglin.com, and check it out. It's got a blog on it right there for you.
if I traded it all.
So we're back and we're talking with Spencer Anglin, and he is with Velocity Financial. And we've opened up the lines here, and everyone calls in, and you can call in and get a free credit analysis from him. And also, you can talk to him if you want or not. That's up to you. A lot of people, it's funny how people are. But you can either call in and just get it, or you can also even ask him a question right here on the air. He's here live to talk to you. So 602-277-5369, toll free. It's 1-866-536-1100. So we were talking about the don'ts of what people don't do.
Correct.
Is there anything more there, or do you want to go into some of the do's?
I think the only thing I probably left out before we went to break was, reminding people not to pack or ship information that might be needed for your loan application. A lot of people make the mistake when they're getting ready to move. They start packing up their W-2s and tax returns and stuff, and the next thing you know, they get a phone call that says, hey, I need to get this from you, and then they have trouble getting to it. And those are delays that usually require us having to ask for an extension on a close of escrow or something when, in fact, it wasn't necessary.
And what about the do's? What are the good things they should do?
Well, I think that the most important thing that they should do is be patient. This is not this is a tough market that we're in. Like I said, where inventory is thin, and then everyone is, and their dogs and cats are able to refinance right now, because it doesn't matter if you're upside down. If you have a Fannie, Freddie, FHA, USDA, VA, government insured loan, you have the ability to refinance right now, even if you're upside down, as long as you've been making your payments on time for the last year or so. Part of that is the reason why, a major part of the reason why it's taking, the banks might take upwards of 3 to 4 months to close a loan. We're averaging 45 to 60 days for refinances to close right now. So the biggest thing I can tell potential refinancers or home buyers is to be patient, because it's important to set that expectation early, so that way, 2 weeks into the process, they're not pulling their hair out wondering why this is taking so long.
Now everybody wants to refi, and for a while there, they were saying not to do that. What's your thought about that?
I would say that if there's nothing wrong with a 5 or 6% rate. The historic mortgage rate, since they've been recorded, is going to be right around 7 or 8% on average, and so we expect to go back to that someday. Right now, they're historically low, and if you have an opportunity to lock in a rate in the high 3s or the low 4s, the after-tax rate on that, even if you're in the 25% tax bracket, is going to be more like the high 2s or low 3s. And if you can find another investment to put some money into it from the money that you save from your refinance, you're going to be better off way down the road. You're going to be better off knowing that you've essentially, I don't want to say shorted the bank, but you basically shorted the dollar against the bank when you get a loan for 30 years for $200,000 or whatever it might be at 4%, because eventually those rates are going to go back up, and you're still going to have that 4% mortgage.
Now, his phone number directly is 602-705-6293. His website is Spencer Anglin, ANGLIN.com. And our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. And everyone who's calling in is getting a free credit analysis from him. First-time home buyers. Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about them. There's a lot of them out there. Should they really obviously check their credit and talk to you about getting that free credit analysis from you before they do anything?
Well, they're pretty much going to have to. Any realtor out there who's worth their weight in grass is probably not going to let them into their car and spend $3.50 a gallon on gas until they know that person is pre-qualified to buy a house. Mm-hmm. So, yes, the answer is absolutely yes, you must get that credit analysis done to find out if you're pre-qualified, and if you're not, then it's important to figure out what you need to do to get pre-qualified.
So give us a call here at 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. He has 9 years of experience, and you're going to get a free credit analysis from him, and he'll let you know exactly whether or not you're able to get a home or not. The dues, did we do all the dues?
I think we did. Yeah, we covered. I mean, there's mostly a lot of don'ts, because really, as long as you're buying a home, if you've already been pre-qualified, there's really not much you need to do after that, except for make your payments on time and keep your nose clean and keep your job. Once you've closed, then you're home free to go ahead and start applying for credit for that new car or that furniture that you've always wanted to get.
So, what kind of hurdles can a potential home buyer expect to go through in order to gain mortgage financing then?
Well, that's the hard part. The hard part is the amount of documentation that's necessary. There was a time when it was much easier to get a loan. During the subprime days, it was really easy to get a home loan. And it seems like the pendulum has swung the other direction now, where it used to be really easy to get a loan. Instead of swinging back to the middle, it swung back to the other
what
side.
What do they need besides, obviously, a free credit analysis from you to start with?
Well, there's the typical tax returns, bank statements, pay stubs. They need to be able to source where the income is coming from, and also, where the down payment and closing cost money is coming from. But more importantly than that is then underwriters are going to scrutinize things like the bank statement. So if there are non-payroll deposits that are over $500 in most cases, you're going to have to explain where that came from. Did you sell something on eBay or Craigslist and deposit the money? And if so, then you're going to have to provide documentation for that. So it becomes very arduous, especially for somebody who has a lot of transactions on their statements.
So that's something else that they would need to bring to you as well.
Exactly. And it's not like I expect...
It's an open book, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's the reason why I find it so important that somebody who's thinking about buying a house or refinancing, stay away from those loan officers that are not licensed with the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions. Do you have to work with a CMPS? No, absolutely not. But it doesn't cost you anything more to do so. And so that's why I make sure I have that designation. It makes people feel a little bit more warm and fuzzy, knowing that the guy that they're providing all of that important financial information to is going to guard it, safeguard it, and do the right thing with it. And they have all the credibility necessary to, that you feel comfortable giving that to them. Because there's a lot of guys out there that maybe you probably wouldn't want to give that to.
And there's a lot of you guys out there.
Mm-hmm, there still are. Like I said, it's an easy question. It's an easy way to identify somebody by asking them what their license number is. Not their NMLS number, but their LO number.
So their LO number.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a certified mortgage planning specialist. That's what he's talking about. And that is you. You're definitely one that is. Mm-hmm. And his number directly is area code 602-705-6293. The website, again, is Spencer Anglin, ANGLIN.com. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I think we've covered a lot of the things that I wanted to talk about, but I was kind of hoping to take some of these calls.
Well, if somebody wants to, they've calling in, but they can call in. They can ask questions if you want, or you can also just call in for the free credit analysis. We get you connected with him. That's what it's all about. But in terms of some of these things that are going on right now, when you say that somebody could, we'll talk about the refinance before. That was pretty interesting in terms of how is it easier to get now?
Well, it's easier in the sense that you don't need an appraisal in a lot of cases because there's the HARP 2 program that allows for anybody with a conventional loan to do that. And then there's the FHA and the VA programs. They already have, the government insured loans already have a program in place. So it's a streamlined program when it comes to the government ones, though, because they really don't require any income documentation. They just require documentation to source where their closing costs are going to be paid from. But other than that, when it comes to like the conventional refinances for the HARP 2 program, it's still a full-up refinance. So you still have to provide the tax returns and the bank statements and the pay stubs and all that stuff. But it's easy in the fact that you don't have to worry about whether or not your property is going to appraise, and it allows them to. It basically rewards them for having made their payments on time.
And you brought up the VA loan. There's a lot of VAs that listen to us here, veterans that listen to us here. How can you help them?
You mean as far as refinancing is concerned?
Well, in anything.
Well, I'll tell you what, VA loans happen to be my favorite type of loan because it's the only loan out there that is a true zero-down mortgage. It doesn't have the annual mortgage insurance that FHA mortgage loans will have, and the upfront funding fee is very small, and it's also waived for anyone that has been disabled as part of their service to our country.
So, and on your website, let's talk a little bit about that again so that they can hear, because it's neat. They can. It's a blog, so go ahead.
Well, the blog is designed to provide lots of information, so there's probably something for everybody on there. I recently reposted an article from Jeannie Huber about garage doors, for instance, and I just posted something earlier this month about email phishing scams. It was amazing to me. I got an email from one of my real estate agents, and it didn't look like something that really should have come from her, and that when I clicked on it, it said, hey, search for your properties here. And then the window that popped open says, hey, type in your email address and your email address password, and it seemed really fishy. And
Yeah.
it turned out that was a phishing scheme, so I posted that on there in case people were
So
getting
there's
those.
all kinds of information there, not only just for home and loans and all of that. There's lots of information. That's Spencer Anglin, ANGLIN.com. His direct number is 602-705-6293. We'll let you call in throughout the show today. Anyone who calls in is going to get that free credit analysis. You can call here at the station at 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. What are your final last words, Spencer?
Make sure you're working with that licensed loan officer, and be careful.
Be careful, but he is a certified mortgage planning specialist, and his number again is 602-705-6293, and that website is SpencerAnglin.com.
The only home of the Mike Huckabee Show is Independent Talk. 1100